Hey YouTube, Midnight Mechanics back. It's been a while, but I'm still around and we're still on this Honda. So let me give you a quick update. So we put the Honda up for sale and we had a lot of interest in this thing, but we also had a lot of questions. A lot of questions that frankly, I wasn't really ready to answer. One of which was, you may wonder why the whole front end of the car is apart. What happened? What's all this junk? Bunch of junk is what it is. This car has non-functioning air conditioning. So somebody asked if the AC was working. I thought it was because when the AC button was pushed, the RPMs kicked up, and I figured that was the engine loading up from the compressor clutch turning on, no problem. It's winter here in New England. You can't easily tell if the AC is working. So I just figured, what the hey, right? Must be working. Well, I took a closer look. I pulled the splash skirt off on the fender here. You can see down in here, if you peek through there, you can see the compressor clutch. It wasn't turning on. Here's the old compressor over here in the box. So we've got a new AC compressor in. We've got a new condenser, which is this thing over here, which is rotted out and fell apart while I was taking it apart. We have a new condenser fan because that was not working. So we are effectively replacing the entire air conditioning system on this vehicle. Compressor, condenser. I've just finished flushing all the air conditioning lines on the vehicle. And the reason to do that is because the 2002 to 2007 Honda CRV gets this condition affectionately referred to as Black Death. What's that? Well, it's where the AC compressor basically implodes. It can happen of one of three ways. The compressors are a weak link on this vehicle. They either seize up completely, and when you're going down the highway, and either shear off the clutch and throw the belt off the car, or the internals lock up and it blows a hole through the side of the case of the compressor, or in the case of this vehicle, a much slower death of Black Death, which means it was slowly, the compressor was basically metal on metal and destroying itself and throwing metal all throughout the air conditioning system. It looks like somebody has replaced this compressor. I'm guessing this is probably the second one. I'll be putting the third one on this vehicle. They did not replace the condenser. I pulled the desiccant bag out of the condenser over here, and it was full and black, meaning the black is an indication of oxidized aluminum, which is from the housing of the compressor, having accumulated over a long period of time in the desiccant bag, which is a dryer on the side of the condenser. There's also silver metal flakes. So metal in a compressor, much like metal in your engine, is a very bad thing. You can throw all the new parts at it, but if you don't get the metal out of the system, the compressor is not going to last. So we have a brandy new condenser over here in the box. We've got a new compressor, which is already installed. Down there, you can see, it's actually not brand new, it's remanufactured. We have flushed all the lines with Temp 5 Select solvent flush and my solvent flush tool, if I can find it. Here it is. I bought this Four Seasons AC system that hooks up to my air compressor. It pressurizes the solvent. This is actually rather dangerous, but it's the right way to do it. We pressurized it. We flushed inside the liquid line here. This is the liquid line. It came out of the side of the line going to the top of the condenser, and then that's the low pressure line, and then this line goes to the compressor. There's another side down there. We flush through all that. We put almost this entire can of flush through 32 ounces. We probably put about 2/3 of it through, so we probably put 20 ounces or so, which is plenty. Here's what came out over here. I have it in my pile of stuff to recycle over here. You know, a lot of it, you know, some, looks like some AC oil and some dye, a little bit of metal in the bottom of it, not too much. So that's where we're at. So in order to get this compressor out, you have to do it one of two ways. You can jack up the car and do it from underneath if you have a lift and drop the front and rear of the frame to give yourself enough room. Or you can do what I did, which, because we were taking the condenser out anyways, is I wedged a block of wood against the radiator after I unbolted it to hold it out, and I pulled the condenser up through here, the gap I created. You got to be careful doing this because you're stretching hoses, you're straining the lines. You've got some old metal lines down here that are, you know, frankly not looking the best, and I'm trying not to break any of them because I'm already invested into this vehicle. Currently, we're at about $3,200 with the cost of the vehicle and all the parts, tools that I've had to invest into this car. Now, you may say, wow, Ken, you're really only going to make a few $100s on this vehicle. I'm like, maybe I will, but I will make some money. I'm not starting at $4,200 like I was before now. Now the price is going up to $5,000 because this repair would cost you upwards of probably $1,500 to $1,800 to have this done at a dealer. So, or not even at a dealer, an independent repair shop. Somebody, at the bare minimum, if you found somebody that was really, you know, dying for work, you might get somebody with parts to do this for $1,000, maybe. And I really don't even think you'd get it for that. It'd probably be land you around $1,200 because they're going to mark the parts up that I've got here. And then this is a lot of work. There's a lot of labor associated with this. And not everybody has the tools or the expertise to do this. So, not that I'm a genius when it comes to this stuff, but I've done this enough where I can figure this out. So we're doing that. We're also doing a few other things because I had to pull the belt off again. We're going to put a new serpentine belt in it. People have been all so that was one of the feedbacks was what's the condition of the air conditioning system, because people know that is a weak link on this vehicle and they don't want to have to deal with it. I've now dealt with it. It will work beautifully when I'm done with it. I am confident in that. I've checked all the electrical system. Everything with the air conditioning should just pop on once I get it all back together and charged. We are going to draw a vacuum on the AC for a half an hour. And what that does is it pulls all the moisture out of the lines and air out. So there's literally a negative pressure in the line so that when I put in the new refrigerant, it'll just suck right in. It'll be dry. There won't be any moisture. And it should, as long as the compressor works that I got, the remanufactured compressor, and we have no leaks, it should be ice cold, beautiful air. Once it's not February anymore and it's springtime and everybody wants their air conditioning work. We'll be able to test it anyways because we'll have the ambient air of the garage into probably the 50s or 60s, which will be enough to tell if it's working or not with a thermometer or something in the HVAC vents. Excuse me. The other thing you want to make sure you're doing is, you can see right here, you need to be replacing your O-rings. These are the originals on some of the lines. I'm putting brand new O-rings on. This is something that people like to skip. You also need to lubricate the O-rings with air conditioning. In this case, the Honda takes this PAG 46 synthetic R134A refrigerant oil. This is what you need to do. You need to replace these O-rings so you don't have leaks. So I'm going through, because I have everything apart, we're going to put new O-rings on, right? The compressor comes pre-filled with oil. The system takes, I think, somewhere around 7.5 ounces. I have it saved somewhere. We have to put an ounce in the new condenser and about an ounce in the suction line. That oil is there to lubricate the compressor so that it hopefully doesn't grenade again, at least not anytime soon. We should get 50 to 60,000 out of this compressor, provided the remanufacturer did their job correctly. So you got to do oil. You got to hook everything up. You got to make sure there's no leaks. You got to flush all the old contaminants out. And that being said, that's that. The other weak link of the car, that the feedback on the people that looked at it was, there was a noise in the rear end. Okay, Well, I said, I'll take a stab at doing it. It's most likely struts. What a pain in the butt. The struts were a pain in the butt. You had to jack up on the struts to get them in the mount. And the worst part was, I still have a little bit of a clunking noise in the back when you're going over low speed bumps. The good news is I replaced the struts, and I needed to because the left rear coil was cracked. The dead coil, which is the coil at the bottom of the strut, was cracked in half, and it was just broken, and it was not safe. So I'm glad we did that. Now it's safe. There's a little noise. I'm starting to think it's the gate because there's a giant rear door hatch on this thing, and I know Hondas and Japanese vehicles are known for not having rattles, but I'm leaning towards that this is actually a rattle of part of that gate because it is huge and heavy. It's bigger than like an 85 Camaro door. And if anybody's ever owned a third gen F body, you know what I'm talking about because that door is like made out of lead. It's so heavy that the hinges sag on the car. It's so heavy. And so's this door on the back of this thing. Look at this. It's ridiculous how big this door is. It's huge. It's the whole width of the vehicle. It's from taillight to taillight. And it's from like basically the bottom of the car to the top. It goes into the roof. It's huge, right? So anyways, I'm not that worried about that. I think with the new AC system and everything else we've done to this vehicle, a minor annoyance about a little rattle in the back, most people are probably not going to care about that. You know, if they're really big deal about it, I'll throw them 100 or 200 bucks off the car just to get it to move. We're also putting a brand new set of NGK laser iridium spark plugs in here. There is a set of NGK iridium spark plugs in here. They are a little worn. I want to put fresh ones in. We're going to put a fresh air filter and a fresh belt because this one got oil all over it. So basically you're going to have a tuned up Honda with a bulletproof 4-cylinder because this is one of the best 4-cylinders out there, better than Toyota in some ways. It is extremely reliable despite the problem with the timing chain. It doesn't leak. We're going to have a new AC system, new rear suspension, good tires with plenty of tread. I'm actually going to go get an inspection sticker put on it, which transfers with ownership in the state of Rhode Island where I am. So they'll have 2 years of worry-free issue. You know, they won't have to get an inspection and worry about passing emissions for 2 years. You got 2 years to drive this thing. So if anything comes up, you don't have to worry about getting you got a check engine light for something weird like a gas cap that doesn't really affect the drivability. You could just keep driving it and not even worry about it for 2 years. That's what I'm going to do. That's why this is going to be $49.95 is because we're going to have new air conditioning, great tires, new rear suspension, a tuned up engine, a new belt, new timing chain, guides, and we're going to have, it's got, I inspected the rotors and pads. The rotors and pads are in phenomenal shape. It looks like they were probably replaced less than 10,000 miles ago, probably like 6. All 4 corners have new rotors. The pads look like they're brand new. This doesn't vibrate when it stops. This vehicle is going to be ready to go as soon as the title comes in because I registered it because I wanted to drive it around and work any kinks out of it. So I spent a few $100s on that. So that got factored into that $3,200. So all in all, I think even if I fire sale this thing at $4,200 or $4,000, I'm still going to make $800. I'm still probably going to make $1,000. I know if I put it up for what I had before for $4,200, it's going to be gone within a day or two. I'm not going to do that. We're going to put it up. We're going to try and get $5,000 for it. We're going to make a decent profit. We're going to get some money for all this trouble we went through to get this thing going. And then I am going to be extra careful next time I buy one of these, if I ever buy one of these, because I think it's a good car. It's kind of a quirky little car, and I can see why people like these things. But holy crap, has it been a lot of work. I mean, we're going on over a month I've had this car, much longer than I wanted to have it. But, the market spoke. They came and looked. I had 4 or 5 people look at it. A lot of them had the same questions. A lot of them, I won't lie to people. I'm not going to tell them that things are fixed if they're not. I'm just going to say, I don't know, because I don't know. And, I had enough people ask that I said, you know what? Now I'm going to investigate. I investigated it. Well, now I can't conscientiously say I don't know because I know. And I'm not that kind of a person where I'm going to sell you something that I know doesn't work. And air conditioning is a big deal to a lot of people, even though New England doesn't get that hot. It gets humid, and you want air conditioning. So, Midnight Mechanic signing off. I'm going to try and get this thing buttoned up in the next, few minutes. It shouldn't really take me long to get everything popped in here. I should be able to actually put the condenser back in without really mounting the radiator too much. I could probably leave things loose and get it charged up before I put, everything completely back together, and see if I can, we'll get the compressor turned on and make sure everything's working properly, and then we're just going to button everything up.